Hey guys, welcome to the show, and I'm here with AEW star Christopher Daniels as we lead into the Lucha Libre World Cup. How are you, sir?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on the show today. I appreciate it.
Of course. I want to talk about this Sunday. It's going to be a Lucha Libre World Cup. It's going to be yourself on Team USA with John Morrison and Sam Adonis taking on Team Japan. How does it feel to go into this match, and how do you expect to get the W for the US of A?
Well, first of all, I want to say it's an honor to have been chosen to represent the United States in such a prestigious event. I look to my left and my right and see guys, Johnny Caballero, Johnny Morrison, and Sam Adonis, two absolute studs in terms of wrestling. Their resumes speak for themselves. And with my experience and their talent, I feel like we're the team to beat. Team Japan, I don't take them lightly in any way, shape, or form. Any Japanese wrestler worth their salt is a tough competitor. But I feel like with all of our tag team experience, I've been a tag team champion over 10 times. Johnny has been a tag team champion many times over. Sam Adonis, the majority of his career in Mexico has been six-man tags. We're all easily fit into this team. And I feel like that's what's going to be the deciding factor in making us the team to beat in this entire event.
Oof, yeah, it sounds like you're going to win. Like, I'll just put it out there.
Yeah.
It sounds like it. Of course. And you talk
Bet
about
your
being
money
a
on me,
tag team.
please.
Of course. And talking about being in a tag team, like you recently just reformed Matt Sydal on Ring of Honor television. What's like the relationship between you guys, or for fans that don't know that you guys used to tag team back in 2006?
So yeah, when Matt was, well, when we were both much younger, Matt came into Ring of Honor and he wrestled me a lot, and he finally got a victory over me. And after that series of matches with him, he and I decided to form a tag team. We won the tag team championship in 2006, I believe. And ever since then, Matt has had a great career. I watched him go on through the WWE, coming back to AEW. And after what happened with myself and Frankie, unfortunately, not able to tag again because we're men of our word, I saw an opportunity to go for the tag team championships in Ring of Honor. Matt, so much more seasoning now, so much more of a well-rounded wrestler at this point in his career. Both of us, just tons of experience. And I feel like we are a very formidable team, even though it's been years since we've been a full-time team. It didn't take us very long to get back into the swing of things. And you'll see, we're going to be wrestling more frequently on Ring of Honor television.
And you guys are facing Aussie Open next week on Ring of Honor TV. How do you expect to take on this like amazing tag team that everyone's talking about right now?
Well, I will say this. I was in the tag team finals of the New Japan Strong Tag Team Tournament. Myself and my partner at the time, Yuya Uemura, we wrestled Aussie Open, and they won that match that night. And that was the first chance I got to see how formidable those guys are as a team. They're one of the hottest young tag teams in the sport right now. They just recently debuted on AEW television. They had some great matches against the Young Bucks, against the Bucks and Kenny as a trio. And yeah, they're firing on all cylinders right now. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough test, but the one thing that Matt and I have that they don't have is experience. And I found that 9 times out of 10, experience can go right up against youth or speed or strength or agility and come out victorious. So I put my money on myself and Matt.
Certainly. And as someone who's been in Ring of Honor for mainly the entirety of the promotion so far, how do you compare like Tony Khan's version of Ring of Honor to like previous owners so far?
Well, I feel like Tony has a wider set of resources for Ring of Honor's benefit. Like throughout, like even when we were doing stuff at Sinclair Broadcasting, I felt like there was sort of a ceiling to how far we could go. And I don't think Tony has that ceiling in place. I think Tony has the resources. If he has an idea, he's not afraid to like go the extra mile to put it into effect. So I feel like there's less restrictions for Ring of Honor under Tony Khan than there might have been under Sinclair Broadcasting at the time. And I hope that that's the case. I hope that going forward, we can sort of bring Ring of Honor back to the prominence it had before the pandemic happened. That situation, probably Ring of Honor was probably the promotion that was affected the most of all by the pandemic. And hopefully with Tony behind the scenes, we can bring Ring of Honor back up, get it back on Honor Club, get people excited about Ring of Honor. Super Card of Honor coming up at the end of this month. A lot of big matches soon to be announced, I'm sure. And yeah, man, I'm just looking forward to trying to be a part of it, trying to contribute, trying to get more opportunities in Ring of Honor, myself and Matt, either way.
Definitely, definitely. And like, we're still in the early stages of Ring of Honor. Like, this the third week, I believe, of television.
Yep.
As time goes on, are we gonna see more of a distinct Ring of Honor roster compared to AEW, or will it still be more like a traveling roster between the two?
I'm not really sure. We haven't really set any firm boundaries yet, and I think that's the advantage that we have. We don't have to say, oh, it's only Ring of Honor, only AEW, or it's all going to be everything. We can sort of pick and choose our moments. And I feel like that's going to be Tony's plan at this moment. He wants to see what the first couple of months, how the trend goes, how fans react to Ring of Honor, how AEW fans react to ROH stars on AEW television. I think he's trying to see what the best mix is. And but I don't think we're going to lay any firm rules, guidelines. I think we're just going to play, and that's our strength, is that we can be flexible, we can mix and match, and we can make the best product possible with AEW, with Ring of Honor as a combination.
Amazing, amazing. And like, Ring of Honor has so many stars come in and out of promotion throughout the years. Is there like a Ring of Honor star that isn't in Ring of Honor right now, or AEW, that you'd like to see come back to the promotion, I should say?
Oh man, that's tough. Without, like, just off the top of my head, two guys that would be great for AEW, for ROH, would be like Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. I feel like the two of them were so indicative of a certain era of Ring of Honor, especially Eddie. And I know that he just recently re-signed with Impact Wrestling, so that's kind of off the table. I feel like Davey Richards might be more available. It's just a matter of scheduling and opportunity. But like those guys, like, I'm sure there's plenty of other guys. If I sat and thought about it, if I went through a list, I could probably come up with 20 more. But I mean, off the top of my head, those guys would definitely fit, especially Davey too. Davey was such a powerhouse during his time at Ring of Honor. So, I mean, I think he would fit right in. And I think there's some fresh matchups with Davey that could happen.
Certainly, certainly. And we can't just talk about Ring of Honor and not mention the fact that you were world champion there. You held the top title. It was a great reign, in my opinion. How would you rank your world title reign compared to like other Ring of Honor champions?
Well, I understand that the story for my title reign was really the title win itself. Like, I feel like I had a decent reign. I had a good amount of defenses. You know, I feel like I had some wins, and I feel like the feud where I lost it to Cody Rhodes was a very strong feud. I had some great matches with Cody, not just losing the title to him, but after the fact in some rematches. But yeah, I feel like if anybody looks at my reign, I feel like the high points were winning it and losing it. In the middle, there were some great matches, but nothing that I think that stands up to the title defenses of guys like Bryan Danielson or Samoa Joe or Eddie Edwards back in the day, or even guys like Jay Lethal, who had amazing title defenses when he was champion. Jay Briscoe, the same thing. Like, Jay had some wars. And so, like, I had a very brief flirtation with the title, and I'm happy I got a chance to do it. But really, those guys had much stronger title reigns than I did.
And one like your biggest opponents ever in wrestling has been AJ Styles. And like, you've like competed in every major promotion up and down, WCW, TNA, Ring of Honor, AEW, etc. But you had a win over him in 2001 for XWF. And I thought it was just amazing to see you win over there. What was it like working for that promotion?
So that was when we did that first taping, it was really like the very first introduction to the XWF for all of us. There was a meeting at the beginning. I remember Jimmy Hart being a part of it, and just, hey, this is what we're going to try and do. It was basically the attempt of what TNA ended up being before TNA. Hey, we're going to do TV, we're going to do live events, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And after that first set of tapings, they did a couple of live events. I wasn't available for those just because I think at that time they were using a lot of the East Coast talent to try and keep their budget in control. And I'm not really sure what ended up not happening for it. I don't have any answers to that, but I mean, it was fun. It was, for that brief shining moment, we were like, hey, this might be the thing. And then, it ended up as a lot of wrestling plans don't come through sometimes. So at that point, it was just a learning experience for a lot of us. Like, okay, it's not anything until it's something, you know. And that was a lesson we learned with that.
Did you have that same mentality come into AEW?
No, actually, I didn't. Only because with the I in the early meetings with Tony Khan and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Cody, I could see that there was a much deeper plan in motion. And I saw that Tony's resources were much wider and he was much more willing to risk than, see, I didn't know anything about the office beyond Jimmy Hart at XWF. So I couldn't tell you like, oh, these people were investors, or, oh, these people had contacts at the television station. Like knowing Tony, talking to the Young Bucks, I felt so confident. It was a very easy decision when AEW was presented to me. And I'm so fortunate that the Bucks especially brought me along with them. They gave me this opportunity. And I'll be forever grateful to the two of them and to Tony for what AEW is and has been for me.
Definitely. And as we wrap this up, I want to talk about the Lucci Labor Cup one more time. Do you have any like pre-match like rituals before going into a big match?
Not really, man. I try and stay warm. It's tougher at my age to get warmed up, to get limber. I try to get in a mindset to try and relax. Really, the tough part for me now is everything before the match. Like the minute I get to the arena till the minute my music's playing, that's the stressful part. You know, in my mind, trying to think, okay, what can't I do? What shouldn't I do? What can I do to stay active, involved? But once the bell rings, that sort of goes to the back and the instinct takes over and you're in performance mode. And so like, that's the tough part. If I can get through everything before my match starts, I think once the bell rings, we're all good.
I actually want to ask this one last question before we wrap this up.
Okay.
Who taught you how to do the best ever moonsault?
Honestly, it was sort of self-taught. There was a young luchador whose name escapes me. He came and trained at Windy City Wrestling in Chicago in like, I was there from 1993 to 96. So I want to say like the end of 94. And he showed me, like, I saw the moonsault from the Great Muta on television. That was my inspiration. I was like, oh man, I want to do that. And I saw this luchador come in and he bounced from the second rope to the top rope to do like a cross body. And I thought, oh, that would be really cool if I could do that. And originally, once I started doing the moonsault, first it was just the regular moonsault, climbing out to the top and backflipping. And then I saw Mark Merrow do the one where he would stand facing the center of the ring, and then he would bounce, turn around, and then backflip. And so I did that for a short period of time in my career. And finally, I got the idea, like, what if I did the bounce the way that luchador did into the moonsault? And once I got comfortable with it, there was the first couple of tries, you don't commit 100% because you're gun shy. But once I got into the rhythm, second nature at this point. Second nature. I can't tell you how many times I've done it, but just absolutely, it's the thing I hang my hat on at this point. It's the one thing I'm proud of. I feel like there are people that I feel like I've been called out a little bit in the media lately, like, oh, hey, I have the new best moonsault ever. And I don't ever comment on that sort of stuff because, I am a little possessive of it, but I'm also like, I understand like people are just trying to get noticed and get seen. And I get that. So it's not up to me to say whether your moonsault's better than mine or not, but I have a firm favorite and you be the judge.
I love it. And hopefully we see it. Yeah. You hit it this Sunday. Definitely get that win. But we'll see that on Fight TV. Definitely. But we'll see that on Fight TV at the Lucci Libre World Cup. Christopher Daniels, this is an honor, honestly. I've been a fan of yours for years and years. Where can I find you on social media? Of course. I'm on Twitter at FAC Daniels, on Instagram at FA Christopher Daniels. And I try to keep everybody posted on the stuff I'm doing for AEW, on independence and stuff like that. So that's it, man. You guys heard it. We'll see you on Sunday on Fight TV, Lucha Libre World Cup. Christopher Daniels, my name is Malcolm, and we're out.